You see the title, The Treehouse is Back. So today we will be repotting George. When I planted him, it was only one little stem, so I put him in a pot and I lowered the dirt so he could have a little small area to grow in. I didn't really have a smaller pot for it at that time. So since I don't have any other pots and we got a repot, I'm just gonna add dirt to this pot to bring it up a little bit higher and put it back in here. And hopefully that'll give me some time to purchase some new pots since I have all of mine in use. So these are the roots that are starting to grow through. Not too many, but enough that I don't want them covering the bottom of the pot or growing out of the pot. I want them to have a bunch of room. So I'm going to be taking it out of this pot now. I did notice that it was a little hard, the soil. So I wanted to give it a little water so that way I wouldn't harm or break any roots when I was taking it apart. And you can see them poking through. So I'm very excited to see what they look like. But the dirt's just too hard, so I need to wet it a little bit and see if we can get it out of there safely. You can see here, it's still hard. The dirt is just really dry. I guess that's what happens when it dries out. But I was still able to start breaking it apart gently. All the roots were protected. I didn't lose any. And I just kind of started from this top piece by piece until I got to the roots, and then they just kind of started to break away. Just kind of showing you all how I'm going about it. It was a tedious process. I was as gentle as my patience and anxiety would allow. But again, no roots were lost. And I think it's going to be a really, really strong plant. And there he goes. I love how straight the roots are growing. I think that's a good sign. Helps them get anchored. So hopefully in the repot, they still grow in that same type of fashion. So it'll be a strong anchored plant. And I'm just messing with stuff. That's what I'm doing right now. How pretty. So to go ahead and repot it, I got the dirt kind of filled up almost to the pretty high, over half. All right, so here we are. We're gonna go ahead and do a good water. I made sure that with this, I filled it at least maybe 2 or 3 times. Made sure that all the water kind of ran through, make sure that the roots were hit and there weren't any pockets or anything like that because it was a dry soil. But my camera did die, so I didn't get to finish that process here for you. But we all know how to water, I hope. Fill it up, drown it, let it all drain out. That's pretty much it. Just a tip though, if you really want to see your plants grow, especially during the growing season, when you water it, they always jump in growth and any new leaves start to do great or they start to sprout. So sometimes your plant is just storing up that energy, waiting on that extra water before it can release it. I think that's a survival mechanism. I'm no expert. It's just my own thoughts. But this is George, topped with a little bit of soil to make sure it's filled up a little bit. And we want to see George grow. I plan to have him 15 to 20 years from now, and I want him to be big and bushy, and I'm going to propagate him, and we're just going to have an everlasting life out of George. I had a whole lot more of him, one left, that was all I had, and we got 2 new leaves out of it, so I can't wait to show you guys when there's like 10 sitting on here, big and bushy. Thanks for watching the treehouse.